The Call of Duty Zombies storyline is a complex series of events that is a driving force for a lot of players. But it hasn't always been that way. There was a time when there was no storyline and all the lore was fan created. Most of the storyline during the days of World at War, and even for a large portion of the original Black Ops, was all speculation, rumor, and hearsay. There wasn't nearly as much information on the game as there is now. The largely negative reception towards Black Ops 4 had me thinking about the past games and all the rumors, myths, and mystery the past games had. So I've gathered a list of what I think are the top 10 rumors in all of Call of Duty Zombies history. But before I talk about the list itself, I have 3 honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1. Shangri-La is set on Mars. This one is somewhat infamous, and you might be wondering why I didn't include it in the actual list. The reason I didn't is that it just might be real. This hasn't been 100% confirmed to my knowledge whether Shangri-La is or is not on Mars, but there are plenty of people that do believe that Shangri-La is set on Mars. I wanted the list to be rumors that we all believed back in the day that weren't true, but fooled everyone for at least a little bit. And Shangri-La being set on Mars doesn't really fall into that category because it may or may not be real, but we've got 2 other honorable mentions to get through, so let's move on. Honorable mention number 2 is DLC 5 in Black Ops 3. Remember back in the early days of Black Ops 3 where DLC 5 was a rumor? Not only was DLC 5 a rumor, but it was laughed at by a large portion of the community. The thing with this rumor and why it isn't on the list is that it ended up being true. There actually was a DLC 5, and thank God there was, because that was the peak of Call of Duty Zombies. There was never as much, and may never be as much hype around a single thing in Zombies. But it's not on the list because it ended up being true. The last honorable mention is that diving on your teammates gives you more drops in your game. This rumor was so long ago, but it feels like it was yesterday. Back in the days of the original Black Ops, you could dolphin dive for the first time, and there were a group of people that would go into public matches and claim that if you dolphin dive on your teammate, you would get more drops in a game, or some variation on this rumor. If you actually did this, what would happen is both players would go down instantly, and maybe have to respawn next round. The reason I didn't include this one is because it really isn't a rumor, it's more of a practical joke or trolling. Once you fall for this and realize what happens, you never fall for it again. So that's why I didn't include it. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the actual top 10, starting with number 10. Number 10. Space Dog. So a certain YouTuber by the name of MC Sports Hawk, or Matt, is solely responsible for the creation of this rumor. He claimed that a friend was playing Moon solo, went back to Area 51, and found a normal-looking dog in Area 51. It wasn't a hellhound, but a normal-looking dog that just followed him around. He talked about it for a good bit, but when he tried to find it, he didn't have any luck. The rumor died out after a while, and people stopped believing that it was in the game, if they ever believed in it at all. Space Dog became a bit of an inside joke on his channel and within the community at large. But the best part about this rumor, and the reason that it had to make the list for me, is that when Treyarch remade Moon in DLC 5, they actually added Space Dog into the map as an actual Easter egg. The egg didn't change the map at all, it was just a little nod to the fans. It's one of my favorite parts of the Moon remake. I love it when developers put in little nods to the fanbase and the community, and for that reason it comes in here at number 10. At number 9 we have the Giant's main Easter egg quest. When Black Ops 3 was released, the only on-disc map was Shadows of Evil, and the Giant was available as a pre-order bonus for getting specific editions of the game. The Giant was more than just a remake of Duriz, I would call it a true reimagining. That combined with some strange visual glitches on launch led people to believe that the map had an Easter egg. In fact, a lot of people were convinced that there was an Easter egg on this map, and in a way they were right. The main Easter egg for the Giant was Paradoxical Prologue, which was a new version of the Flytrap Easter egg from the original Duriz. And for completing this Easter egg, you were rewarded with the Annihilator pistol for multiplayer and some dialogue from Maxis. There was no cutscene and the game didn't end. Keep in mind that the giant directly follows the events of Shadows of Evil, more or less, and we're playing as the Primus crew. That combined with more strange visual glitches that were present on launch led people to believe that there was more to the map. Eventually people gave up after not finding anything because there wasn't anything. The final nail in the coffin for this rumor was when Treyarch added the gate worms to the map selection menu when they released DLC 2. These gate worms indicated whether or not the main Easter egg quests had been completed for each respective map. There was a gate worm for the giant, and people quickly figured out that gate worm was added when you received the Annihilator. This rumor has a bit of a long history, as you can tell, and on top of that is a very recent rumor. Most of the rumors on this list were early in the game mode's history, during either World at War or the original Black Ops, or even some of the early days of Black Ops 2, because there wasn't as much information on the game then as there is now. Because of the recency of this rumor and the longevity of it, it comes in here at number 9. Number 8. Crawling makes you bleed out faster. So in case you weren't around during the days of World at War, or just forgot, back in the days of World at War, you weren't able to crawl around when you got down. You were completely rooted in place. But when the original Black Ops came out, Treyarch allowed you to move around while you were bleeding out. At the time, there were plenty of people who thought that being able to move caused you to bleed out faster. They thought there was a trade-off. So what ended up happening is if you were in a public match and you went down, and assuming your teammates had a microphone of course, they would always tell you not to move because you would bleed out faster. And that's how that rumor spread, and in a way it makes sense, but it's not true at all. It would make sense that there would be a trade-off for this newfound ability, but there isn't. The myth kind of makes me a little bit mad because it's so obviously not true. You could very easily test this out for yourself if you had a second controller and went into split screen. All you would need to do is down yourself, don't touch the controllers, and time it. One where you're moving and one where you aren't. This myth shouldn't have even existed if people were smart enough to test things out for themselves. But I couldn't talk about rumors without mentioning this one because it got a lot of people back in the day. So I have to include it here at number 8. Number 7. Opening the Nuketown Zombies Bunker. Nuketown Zombies from Black Ops 2 was a direct recreation of the map Nuketown for multiplayer. It was a pre-order bonus for Black Ops 2 just like the Giant was for Black Ops 3 and classified for Black Ops 4. It seems weird to explain that, but the map is over 6 years old at this point, which is crazy to believe. It feels like it came out yesterday. But just like the multiplayer version of the map, there's the bunker on one side of the map. And there was a select group of people that believed that there was an Easter egg that would allow you to open the Nuketown bunker door. There was also a lot of YouTubers that used that opportunity to make some very clickbait videos that claimed there was a way to open the door. In reality, there wasn't a way to open it. Though it would be cool if you could, there wasn't a real need for it. Nuketown is perfectly fine without being able to open the door in my opinion. But this rumor was everywhere on YouTube during the early days of Black Ops 2. I remember seeing this everywhere before the DLC season started, and even for a while afterward. I never believed it, but a lot of people thought it was in the game, or even believed the clickbait videos were real, despite not being able to open it in their own games. The Nuketown bunker was an infamous rumor in Black Ops 2, so it's gonna come in here at number 7. Number 6. Misty is Dempsey's daughter. Where do I even begin with this one? When Transit came out, there were people that thought Misty was Dempsey's daughter. I don't know who thought this, why they thought this, or what evidence they had supporting this idea, but it's not true. I think the only reason people thought this was because Dempsey was an American, and Misty was an American, even though all the Transit crew was American. This myth is completely outlandish. I don't think many people believed it even at the time, but this one is so notorious and is still memed to this day that I have to include it here at number 6. We're moving into the top 5 now, so if you've been enjoying, hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing to the channel. But at number 5, we have the Apothic Servant upgrade on Shadows of Evil. This rumor is the most recent on the list and has quite the history, so I'll try and get through it as quickly as possible. Back when Shadows of Evil was released, we were introduced to one of the best wonder weapons we've ever seen, the Apothic Servant. For a while, there was a glitch that allowed you to upgrade the Apothic Servant. There was originally an upgrade for it on Shadows of Evil, but it got cut from the map before launch. However, the steps to trigger the upgrade are in the game code, though there are no way to legitimately activate them in-game. We know this because people went into the game code and figured it all out. But notice I said legitimate way to activate it. There was a glitch that let you get around that, and that's how people initially figured this out. Eventually, the glitch was patched by Treyarch, but that didn't stop people from trying to upgrade it. There were people hunting through the map on YouTube and Reddit looking for a way to upgrade it. There were people searching through the game code, there were people going back to the Xbox 360 version of Black Ops 3 to see if anything stood out there. The community was looking for any way possible to upgrade the Apothic Servant, because the upgrade was actually quite good and very useful. The rumor finally died when NoahJ456 interviewed Jason Blundell during a promotional event for, I believe it was DLC 2 with Zetsubo Noshima, where he asked if there was an upgrade for the Apothic Servant. Jason, being as cryptic as always, said the following.
Here's one that doesn't have to do with this map.
Sure.
The number one question I was asked is,
Yes.
is the Shadows of Evil wonder weapon upgradable?
Okay, let me be definite and cryptic at the same time.
As expected.
Yeah. It is not possible to upgrade the Apothicon Servant in Shadows of Evil.
Some people thought there was a way to upgrade the Apothic Servant on a different map that was already out, but most people just assumed that it was going to come back later in a future map. And then at the very end of Black Ops 3's life cycle, Revelations came out and brought back the Apothic Servant, and on that map you could upgrade it. This rumor lasted throughout the entirety of Black Ops 3's life cycle. Usually these rumors don't nearly last as long, and the hunt for the upgrade was everywhere. A larger than usual portion of the community was very interested in the hunt. It got similar traction to the main Easter eggs, which is insane. And the way they ended it with bringing the Apothic Servant back in Revelations with the upgrade is enough reason for me to include it here at number 5. Number 4. The Ascension Easter Egg Continuation. So when Ascension was released, we got the first fully fleshed out Easter egg in Zombies. It wasn't the fly trap, just don't mention it. The Ascension Easter egg was a groundbreaking addition to the game, and it ended up leaving a lot of people scratching their heads. If you weren't around during the days of Black Ops 1, or simply don't remember, the reward for completing the Ascension Easter egg was a death machine that lasted 90 seconds. And that's it. It didn't feel finished to a lot of people, and keep in mind that this was the first time anything like this had existed. So people didn't quite know what to think about any of this. All of these factors led people to think that there was a little bit more to the egg, and there were people looking for more steps for a very long time. It took until people searched through the game code to prove that there was nothing left in the map. This egg and the rumor were all the rage in the community before it was disproven, and the idea fundamentally changed the path Zombies was taking in the future. Without this map, Zombies wouldn't be where it is today, and for all those reasons, it comes in here at number 4. Number 3. Bus Route B. Do I need to explain why this rumor is on the list? I think we all know at this point, don't we? No? Okay, well. Transit's main way of getting around is the bus. It goes on one set path throughout the entire game. But people theorized that there was a second bus route. The main theory I saw was that there were a couple of hints that showed there was a second bus route in the world before the bombs dropped, and a bus schedule that had 2 different times. And the idea was there was a way to change the time, and therefore change the route the bus took. And that was just one hypothesis on how to change the bus route. There were a whole bunch of theories floating around. If I covered all of them in this video would be an hour long and probably wouldn't be ready until mid-November. So we'll just leave it at the one. It turned out there wasn't a second bus route, shocker, and it didn't take long for this to become a meme in the community. But that didn't stop people from theorizing there was a second plane route on Mob of the Dead. It wasn't as popular as the second bus route theory and was quickly dismissed. This rumor is infamous, and it got memed by the community. It got memed hard. I don't think I could in good faith make a top 10 rumors video and not include this one. So I'm putting it here at number 3. Number 2. Any guaranteed Raygun tutorial. This rumor is one of my favorites. For those who somehow don't know about this wonderful rumor, there are not one, not two, but tens, maybe even hundreds of quote-unquote tricks that will guarantee you the Raygun when you hit the box. By doing these quote-unquote tricks, you will get a Raygun every single time. Some of these tricks include hitting the box when the question marks turn gold, shooting the corners of the box and then hitting it, shooting the corners, spinning around and going prone while the box is spinning. I couldn't tell you every single one because I'd be here forever, but those are the biggest 3 that I know of. Feel free to leave other versions of this myth in the comments below. Maybe I'll collect all of them and rank them by how absurd they are, because they are absurd. The truth is, there is no guaranteed Raygun strategy, it's all completely random. The only way there is that I know of to increase your odds is through the perma perk in Black Ops 2. That's the only legitimate way I know of. And it's not even increasing your odds of getting a Raygun specifically, it only increases the odds of what Treyarch considered a good weapon. Why I love this rumor so much and why it's so high up on the list is that it comes back for every single edition of Zombies. It was in World at War, Black Ops 2, and even in Black Ops 3, though people by then knew better for the most part. But despite this, the rumor kept coming back. It's like the cockroach of rumors. It can't be killed, and it keeps coming back. For a lot of you, this might be your number 1, and it would be for me if the next rumor wasn't the best rumor in Zombies history. You all knew this one was coming. You saw it in the thumbnail, and it's the most absurd Zombies rumor of all time. Coming in at number 1, Zombie Hitler.
You serious?
My oh my, what a myth this is. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, or I was gonna say or have forgotten, but there is no way anyone who has heard this rumor has forgotten it. When Nuketown was first discovered in World at War, there was a myth that if you got to round 100, or round 50 depending on the version, a zombie Hitler would spawn in as a boss. No, I'm serious, this is a thing that people actually believed. Keep in mind, it was a lot harder to reach those high rounds when the game came out. Nowadays, really talented players have no issue reaching round 50, round 100, or even beyond round 200. But back in the day, it was impressive if you made it to round 20, or by some stretch of luck you made it to round 30, you were considered a god among men. So this rumor probably gave a lot of life to the game, with people trying to reach round 50 or round 100 to see Zombie Hitler. And the rumor came back in the original Black Ops with Kino der Toten. The same rumor, reach round 100 and Zombie Hitler will spawn in. Except this time, I've heard versions of the rumor that it was a giant Zombie Hitler. But by this time, people were a little bit better at reaching those high rounds than they were at World at War. Partially because of this new strategy called training, which Syndicate popularized on Kino der Toten. He reached round 115 in a very well-known video, and Zombie Hitler did not spawn during that game. And as people continued to play World at War and get to those high rounds, they also discovered that there was no Zombie Hitler that spawned in on either round 50 or 100. One of the reasons I have to put this at number 1, outside of the general absurdity of it, is because this is one of the earliest rumors in all of Zombies. This is going back to the very beginning of things. But the biggest reason it's at number 1 is because it's absolutely absurd. We are talking about a zombie Hitler spawning in a Call of Duty game. Do I need to explain why this is absurd? It is a zombie Hitler in a Call of Duty game. What gets me is that people actually believe this. There was a large group of people that thought this was true. To me, that shows just how the game mode captured the imagination of players. It wasn't totally out of the box that a zombie Hitler would spawn in. But for those reasons, zombie Hitler is the greatest myth in all of Call of Duty Zombies history. But there you have it, that's my list of the greatest rumors in zombies history. Let me know what you think and leave your own list in the comments below. This video took a while to put together because there are a lot of rumors throughout the long history of this game mode. So if you could leave a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed watching and agreed with my list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.